So if we look at these two images here, for example, okay, just looking at them, you think, well, what's different? What's the difference? What's he kind of pointing at? Okay, if I zoom in a bit more now, okay, you can kind of see the club. If I put a line on here and a line on there, relative to your right shoulder, yeah? Mm-hmm. So your club moved about that much.
Yeah.
It feels to you like we're talking in feet,
yeah.
but it's moving. But if you think about it in reality, if you move the golf club back 6 to 8 inches, you probably miss the golf ball. Because the ball's only 2 inches in terms of total diameter, less than 2 inches in diameter, okay? So if we move the club that much, the contact would be so out of position, it'd be all over the place, okay? So in terms of that, sorry, I just want to sort of show that beforehand, okay? Setup-wise, as we said, very, very good, and that's to be expected for someone at your level, okay? Top of the backswing, good. Top of the backswing, good. The issue you had was right shoulder kind of coming forward, right hip kind of moving it first a bit early, and the club, now that kind of move there with the hands, and that causes your club now, your hands to get quite a lot over the sort of over plane or above plane. Club now going to be coming down from a very steep angle of attack, which therefore means hitting the ground is going to be something you almost have to try and avoid, because you're chopping down and then you whoop, come out the shot kind of thing, okay? And as you come into the golf ball here now, club comes outside, and we see the shaft now basically over the golf ball, dissecting the golf ball, actually over the ball this side, which unfortunately resulted in that shot. We don't want to see too many of us with the old snozzle off to the right there, the old shank. Yeah, we caught that exactly, yeah. So as that club comes down, now the right shoulder for you, and this is actually something that I was watching ages ago. A guy said for 30 years of coaching, he's put a $100 bill down and said, right, $100, swing the golf club and start the downswing with your arms first. It's physically impossible in some ways. In fact, 30s, he's never lost a $100 bill, okay? And you actually watch what you felt was a quieter right shoulder. So you watch sort of frame by frame as you're going up there, a quieter right shoulder is still going to move. Now, that's movement from half an hour from start to finish, okay? Over time with practice, and I think using the wall drill behind you, getting the wall behind you here, getting that feeling of what does it feel like when that club comes from way too far behind. So the more we can get the club behind you, you'll then start becoming more aware of where that club needs to be. Mm-hmm. To say just swing from inside out or swing from shallow, it's just, what does that mean? Put something in place that you can actually get some feedback from, i.e. the wall, okay? So the club now starts working down there. You can see the club now just off that wall, as you see if you're coming down here. So the head of the club is kind of there. In an ideal world, we want that club to be a little bit more in that position, okay? But to be fair, you've gone from there to the yellow to the second blue. So you have flattened it slightly. It's just practice and progression through that. But if we go back to impact out there, that club's coming in, where this club starts coming in there now, you can see, if I put a line on these two shafts, basically where the two shafts, one's over the ball, over the top, outside, gone left, and that one's still kind of working a little bit more underneath plane and more towards target. So the golf ball now, you see the shaft this side of the golf ball as you come in, club working back in, clear all them, good strike of the ball as you can see, ball then striking middle and the release through to, again, a very, very good follow through position, which is, again, most good golfers like you are going to have a fairly good finish position. It's just sometimes what happens kind of between here and there, and even with the one that's missed here, if you saw just them, which is the best swing, which is the shank, there's no difference, is there? You always tend to finish in a pretty good finish position there, okay? It's just the movement from the top into impact, and that's, unfortunately, this is the most important part of the golf swing. When the club is striking the ball, what information does it give the golf ball? Your path was going to the left. Yeah. If the club face squared up like on Sunday, as you said, you hit a shot that just goes over there somewhere. Might be a soft draw, might be a slight fade, but it's going to go left and stay mostly left of target. Today, little bit anxious on there, a bit so, not going to work, bit tension creeps in, bit of a cutty one. And if the club then and the ball then starts going over here as the first 4 or 5 did, you then try and go way left and just basically throw that club further out and try to go this way, and unfortunately results in that. So as a feeling, like I say, sort of summarise that, get to the top of the backswing, set up. If you're doing that wall drill, so the wall's behind you there, flatten the left wrist like with that club to get the club against the wall, okay? And then from there, drag the club down the wall. So when you come to kind of this position here, you can see your club is kind of up there. Probably in the frame would be somewhere around there. In slow-mo, you want the club to be kind of back here somewhere. Over-exaggerate, miles behind you. So when you put speed to it, that club's going to start working back round in front of you rather than going out here and then trying to sort of... Because if you get from here and do the right shoulder first. Now try and swing from the inside. Where are you going to... You tie yourself in knots. It's not going to work, is it?
No.
Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You sure, yeah? So happy that's again, just a feel of a sort of transition from the top. You felt it, I think, the start where you thought it felt your left arm across your torso, then you kind of felt more with your right shoulder staying back.
Trying to just be...
Just quieter with that right shoulder. I think a lot of times if there's a bit of tension up there, you try and bring your arm down with tension. Just if you're nice and relaxed with the right arm, it can move a lot more easily in the socket there. It will then come down a lot better, and that right shoulder here can just stay back a little bit. So.
Do you think I'll always do it a little bit? Like.
Probably a little bit, I'd say, yeah. I think the thing with swing, I think at the moment, it's a swing fault.
Yeah.
It will become a swing characteristic.
Okay.
Someone like, well, Monty, Nicholas, even Tiger to some extent, Brooks Koepka, they're over the top. Wouldn't mind their game, would you? Oh. So exactly. So again, being a little bit over the top and slightly that way is fine. And for me, it's kind of something you end up learning to live with that characteristic. So when it does start getting a bit kind of pulley or a bit overcut, you're like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Ah, okay, I know my fault is.
Yeah.
I've had the same fault for 25 years. I'm still trying to change it, but I just think, okay, I'm not going to change it. Just deal with it and know what to do to fix it when on the golf course.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it? Just getting to the point where...
You've got a very good functional swing that sometimes gets a little bit that way.
Yeah.
If we can get it that way, not over the top too much, you can play golf with it.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I just want to...
A more consistent game with less to think about, obviously.
Yeah.
And just to know where that club's going to kind of start working down rather than being out there too much. So, okie dokie.